Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tasteless bringing you my personal thoughts on the new announced RTS Battle Aces developed by Tencent Games. Just to be clear, this is not a sponsored stream. These are my own thoughts, and none of the casts that I've done for Battle Aces are sponsored as well. So first and foremost, wow, the trailer is crazy. Now, I don't put that much thought into trailers for RTS games when I'm deciding what to get or what to buy, but I think it's fair to say that this is by far the most exciting RTS trailer I can think of, maybe since seeing, the Legacy of the Void trailer, where there were zealots warping in and fighting Bailings and Archons and everything. This was a very cool look, and also very different. I like the sort of old-looking anime aesthetic. Since I was able to actually play the game in Los Angeles several weeks ago, it was cool to see the different units in the fights now that I have a bit of a relationship with them. But I just got to say, it's hard to not be hype about something that looks that good. So props to Uncapped Games for what they did there. Now, before I go into the game itself, I want to remind everybody, this was a game that was developed by David Kim. If you play StarCraft 2, you probably already know who I'm talking about. But if not, David Kim was the lead balance designer for the vast majority of StarCraft 2's history, all the way from the start of the game, actually even before it was out, to Legacy of the Void. And he was there basically until there was the mass exodus from Blizzard, and he went to start his own game studio. So my point there is that the game's in good hands. If you're watching this channel, there's a high chance that you're a StarCraft fan. And so these are from, not just with David Kim, but many of the other developers there, ex-StarCraft people, ex-Blizzard people working on the game. So to go on to the game's concept, it's a very different approach, something that I had not ever really thought of before. I didn't know anything about the game before they let me play it in LA, and I was really surprised. Essentially, they're trying to cut the fat out of the most difficult parts to learn in an RTS before you get into the action. One issue I myself have ran into when I'm trying to teach people StarCraft is I discover, although they want to get into these big battles and have huge fights like they see in pro matches or on the box art of the game, a lot of times they don't realize how hard it's going to be to know how to wall in, to memorize a tech tree, to also be able to scout your opponent and see their tech tree. And so the idea with this is that it basically shoots you right into the action. And so I want to be clear. I like making buildings in games. I like building bases, and I didn't know what to think of this game at first, but after a couple hours, I was really enjoying myself. It's a very different experience, but it's definitely a fun one. And it's exciting because in a lot of ways, I feel like this can really bring a lot of new people into the entire RTS genre and learn how to enjoy that. And maybe there'll be even crossover into older games like StarCraft or other RTSs as well. So the way the game works, you can expand with just one button. You don't need to place any buildings. It'll automatically land. There are two resources similar to StarCraft. When you expand, the workers are automatically built. So you don't have to do anything. The workers don't cost anything to make. And when you are attacking an expansion or when you're being attacked, you basically have two choices. You can try to kill workers, which die very quickly, but will automatically be remade. Or you can go for the resource gathering structure. And when you kill that, all the workers are wiped out as well. It's a situation where you have to make choices very, very fast. And it's been pretty exciting to play. You always start in the bottom left. And this was something I didn't quite pick up on at first. I thought, man, I'm just getting very lucky always being in this one corner of the map. But it turns out anybody who's playing the game will be starting from one spot on the map. And basically the game mirrors the experience so that when my opponent's playing me, I'm in the top right side of the map. It does it seamlessly. You would never notice. But that is a cool concept. In certain games, there's been debates on whether or not one side might be better for the other. Even in StarCraft 2, we have situations where stalkers might be able to blink into a Terran's base on the if they spawn on the left side of the map, and you can snipe their tech labs or something like that, where if the Terran's on the right side of the base, their add-ons are more difficult to snipe. Even games like Tekken, some players prefer to be on the right or on the left. So this basically solves that. I thought that was an interesting fix, and certainly not something I had thought of or even thought was possible. So As far as the units go, the game has a deck building system. So in some ways, you could think of it a little bit like Hearthstone, if you've ever tried to build a Hearthstone deck. Only instead of cards, you're building units, or selecting units rather, that go into your tech tree. So you set up a certain type of unit composition, and as the game starts, you get to see what your units deck is as well. And so as the game begins, you get to try to figure out how exactly you want to use this army to push, to harass, to counterattack your opponent. And that makes for a lot of different possibilities and almost endless matchups because there's so many different types of games that can be played. Certainly some of these decks are going to turn out to be better than others, but when we're this early on, it's very exciting to see that there's so many possibilities. When I was at the Tencent Studios, I played for about 2 days. Me and a bunch of other influencers were there. I spent about 40% of my time playing the game myself, and then another 60% of the time just watching other players. I personally always find that RTS games for me don't come naturally, so I'll try to mess around and see what I can understand in the game, but then I like to go watch people that are basically better than me and see what ideas they have. We did get to watch a lot of pros play, and honestly, those games, even though we were only on the end of day 2, were really cool. They were really exciting. I really enjoyed it. I did feel like the experience of playing the game was akin to playing a fighting game in an arcade, in that you are thrown into the action. The result is almost immediate, and if you want to queue up another game, you can do it right away. And it's very different than what I've experienced with other RTS games where, look, some games are extremely short, as are some of the games here in Battle Aces. But a lot of times, games can be very long, which, again, I don't have a problem with. But this is a pretty novel experience that I've been having here. There is a 2v2 mode that the game has. I had not played this. I don't believe this was available in the build that I had. But I think team games are going to be very important for getting a wider audience. It's just been proven that although there's plenty of people that play 1v1 games, and I know I'm one of them, and maybe you are too, there are more people that want to experience the game with friends. So the 2v2 mode is exciting. I'm curious if there would be a 3v3 or 4v4 mode. I don't know how easy or hard that is to implement, but I'm glad to see they're not just going to go for hardcore 1v1 RTS fans as well. Another little note I thought of pointing out here is that the game is set up where all of the units are robots. And I think this is a smart decision strategically for the company because this way they can market it to a very young generation. You don't have to worry about having the game having an M rating or necessarily being hyper-violent. It's going to be accessible and probably accepted in most countries where maybe the laws on what can be in a game are a little bit stricter. So I thought that was a cool smart mode as well. And I do feel that each of the units has their own look. Just within an hour or two of playing, I could easily distinguish what each unit was as I was playing or as I was watching other pros here. So my thoughts overall are this is a really exciting time for RTS. I mean, we've got Battle Aces coming out, but we've also got Stormgate, we've got Zero Space. There's other stuff that's in the works as well. And, after this long period of, and look, it's been a great time with StarCraft 2. I've had a lot of fun. It is so cool to see all these different groups of people coming together and putting out games with new ideas, fresh concepts, and maybe, keeping this genre alive in the future indefinitely. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think about Battle Aces, about the trailer, the deck building, the fast-paced gameplay, and, what kind of content you want me to make down the road in the future. I will be putting some casts up of games that Uncapped Games has given me, and I hope to eventually be making guides as well, but I think it's fair to say I need to have a little bit more experience in how the game works before I can put anything out there that's going to be helpful for you for that. Also, please go to tastelessreds.com. That is my merch site. Have a lovely day, and I hope to see you in a future video. Bye-bye.